I don't know if this is embarrassing, but we're gonna go ahead and share it anyway. Hello, welcome back to my corner of the internet. So today I have a specific video for you guys, and I thought it'd be fun for you guys to know the statistics of my palette. So in the last year, I rearranged my whole entire makeup collection to work for me. And I love to wear my makeup seasonally. That's just how I do it. You don't necessarily have to do it obviously that way. But for me and my brain and the way that it works, seasonally is the best thing for me. So I did rearrange all of my makeup collection in that way. So when it came to my eyeshadow palettes, I have 2 drawers per season in my collection, and I want to keep it that way. If anything, bring it even less. So today I wanted to share with you guys all the statistics of my winter palettes. So I had from about the mid-December all the way up until about mid-March to use all these palettes in these 2 drawers as much time as I wanted, as many as I wanted, however I wanted. So I want to share with you guys all the statistics of it so you guys can understand, at least to see how much I used. And I want to do this for every season to see how I do with each drawer. As I now have laid down the plan of this, I'm going to let you guys know that I have 2 drawers. In total, both drawers have 88 palettes for the winter season. That is, you guys know that I love eyeshadow palettes, so it should not be no surprise when you hear these numbers per season, how many palettes I have. I have over 200 palettes, and I'm okay with that. I dwindled down. I haven't really bought much, so my spending hasn't been as excessive as it has been in the past years. I have reached a point where I had over 600 eyeshadow palettes. So for me, this is actually pretty good. You got to understand my process in order to understand, because 200 may seem a lot to a lot of people. That is excessive, but for me and my journey, this is actually pretty good. It's pretty good. In the winter drawers, I have 2 drawers, each of them total 88. And I went through, and obviously I'm keeping track of all the palettes that I am using to see which ones I'm touching, which ones I'm not. And if I'm not touching them, is it something that I should just let go of and move on with my life? So I've been doing another project pan where I'm doing all of that. But today, I want to share with you guys, out of the 88 palettes, I used a total of 46 of them. So I, some way, shape, or form, pulled out 46 out of those 88 palettes and used them in a look, used them for the day. I don't tally up which specific shadows I'm using or how many times I'm going into each shadow. It's just a look. So today's look is what I'm tallying up for the day. If I'm retouching, if I redo my makeup for a second time, wash my whole face and redo it, that is another tally that I do use because it's a whole new look that I'm using the palette for. 42 of them were not touched. 42 of them. So that means that 52% of my eyeshadows were used. In my brain, I genuinely would love to have at least 50% of my palettes used. Some seasons I have more palettes than other seasons. Summer and fall, I'm going to have a ton of eyeshadow palettes to touch. And that is the hardest time of year for me to touch palettes because I love one and done shadows. I love my shadow sticks. I love my cream shadows. I like the easiness of just that quickness when it comes to humidity and heat and being outside. So I'm curious to see how I'm going to do this year. I really am. Winter and spring are my least amount of palettes. I feel like spring is even less than winter. These are the kind of seasons where I really don't buy as much eyeshadow palettes because the color stories don't really resonate with me. I don't really like them, or I am more, what's the word? I am a more conscious of the palettes that I do own, that I don't want to repeat the same color story, knowing that I don't reach for them as often as I should. So for me, this is actually not bad. So 48% did not get used. So I did reach my goal of over 50% of the eyeshadow palettes. And I like to see what it is that I didn't reach for much. I noticed that I was reaching for palettes that I hadn't reached for the previous year, or that I am neglecting because of the brand, I tend to reach for eyeshadow palettes that I know I can trust and use. And that's not to say that I have palettes in my collection now that I can't do that with, because I've gotten rid of all of those. I've gotten rid of the majority of the eyeshadow palettes that just make me work extra, and I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. But I can tell that throughout my list, a lot of them were higher end, like a lot of my McGrath ones, a lot of my quads, and that's mainly because prior to me putting my palettes into these categories, I was using them quite a bit. I was reaching for them quite a bit. So I gave them a break to touch the other things that I did not. My brain has been rewired doing this whole process, because now when I look at my drawers, I stick to those 2 drawers, and then I have access to all of my single shadows, whether that's cream, liquid, or powder pressed, pigment, whatever it is. I have access to those still as well throughout the whole year. But I keep myself in check and stay in the 2 drawers of each season. What that has allowed me to do is, one, it has allowed me to have, once the season changes, I feel like I got all new eyeshadow palettes without spending the money, because I hadn't touched those in a long time, and they go with the season that I'm in, so I'm gonna reach for them the most. 2, I realize what I'm gravitating towards within those seasons. So now next year, I'm gonna give myself a little bit more time with each season. I'm not going to go ahead and declutter the ones that I didn't touch this year, because it's not necessarily, there's reasons behind it. So I'm giving myself at least 2-3 years of doing this process to then realize, all right, what am I truly not reaching for? And there may be palettes throughout that I'm like, yeah, this needs to go. This needs to go. I'm not going to reach for it. It's just not my. This also allows me to have a strict storage. So I can't go in excess in these drawers because I don't have the space. I genuinely don't have the space. I've gotten rid of storage units that I no longer have that extra space to store more palettes. So if I am bringing something new in and those drawers are packed, I got to figure out what's going to be gone. So I have to really keep that in mind and not allow myself to expand my storage in order to allow this process to work. So it's been a lot of fun. As I turned into spring, I've been having so much fun changing up the tones, changing up the colors, seeing what I like, seeing what is mixing in with my clothing as well, because not only does my makeup change, but my clothing changes. They come a little bit brighter. They're not as dull. They're not as boring. They're not as deep and dark. They're more like bright and cheery kind of colors, and that's what my makeup is all about. I have been having fun with this, and I wanted to share that with you guys. I'm going to try to do this every season that it ends and let you guys know how much I used of each of these drawers. How much am I really reaching for? At the end of the year, I want to reevaluate everything and really think about it before I continue with the next season. I'm not trying to do a massive declutter either, but if in the season I see that I'm not reaching for one, or I really don't care for that anymore, as I see the whole season as a whole, maybe I might get rid of some. But right now, so far in winter, I did not get rid of any, nor do I intend to get rid of any. And in the spring, spring has my least amount of palettes. This is the season where I have the least amount. So I'm already reaching for quite a bit of palettes. So this might be my biggest success this season, but it's a lot of fun. I already know in spring I can't pull off a lot of pastels, so that allows me to not buy so much. And I haven't really bought a lot of palettes. I've been doing really good with keeping myself in check and not doing that. So I just wanted to share this really quick statistics with you guys. I think it's a lot of fun. I'll keep track of them. I might put this all in a spreadsheet, so then that way I can keep it for years to come to realize. And maybe this will allow me to declutter smart, to not just declutter because I'm just over the clutter or I'm tired of seeing it. Now that I have categorized it how I like to use my makeup, maybe this will allow me to declutter more smart and not bring in too much, which actually has been helping since last year. So that's a good thing. It is, I am seeing the success of it going into this year, so I'm excited for that. I love to know what you guys think. Is this a lot? Is this a little? Like, do you think that I should have used a lot more? Bear in mind, there are some palettes that I used more than once, so that does take away a day from other palettes being used. So just keep that in mind when I am using palettes, that it's not necessarily that I neglected palettes on purpose. It's just other palettes may have gotten quite a few uses. So I'm just going to keep track of them, so then next year I realize, all right, am I really going to use this palette this time or not? So we'll see how this goes. All right, guys, that's all that I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching and for clicking on my videos. I appreciate you guys very, very much. I will catch you guys in the next video. May God bless you always.